Hey guys, welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're going to look at how to make cookies. Evan's birthday was this week and we have his party tomorrow, so we're going to make him some cutout cookies. So let's go get started. 4 eggs, they're room temperature, 1.5 cups of butter that is also softened at room temperature, that's 3 sticks. We have some orange extract and some vanilla extract. We also have 5 cups of self-rising flour. You can use plain or all-purpose flour, but you'd have to add the baking soda and salt to it. And then we have 2 cups of granulated white sugar. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is add our butter and sugar. So we're going to add this and cream it until it gets nice and blended together. This butter should be nice and soft. If not, you can microwave it for about 20 seconds just to kind of soften it up a little bit. But I like to just leave it out to room temperature, and that usually works. Okay, this is nice and fluffy, so you can kind of get an idea for how fluffy this mixture is. Nice and fluffy. And we're going to add our eggs. We're going to add them one at a time as the mixer mixes gently. Or maybe 2 at a time. We'll try to do 1 at a time. That other one just slipped right out. So we're going to let that mix up just a minute, and then we'll add a next egg. And our last egg. And then we're also going to add a teaspoon of vanilla, and to give an added bonus this time I have a teaspoon of orange extract, and you can leave that out or you can change it to almond extract or whatever flavor you like in your cookies. But we're going to do a vanilla orange today. So we're going to go ahead and pour that in and let that get mixed in. Alright, we have our eggs mixed in. Now we're going to add our flour, and I'm just going to do this just a little bit at a time because I don't want it to fly everywhere and I want it to get nice and mixed in without making a mess. So we'll go ahead and mix this up and just do a little bit at a time. And in fact, I'm going to go ahead and get my mixer guard so that it doesn't make a mess. I got my mixer guard in place. I'm going to go ahead and add in my flour just a little bit at a time. This way it won't splatter me and the whole kitchen. As you can see, our dough has the consistency of, well, cookie dough. So we're going to let this chill. I'm going to wrap it in saran wrap, and we're going to let it chill for about 1 hour, or you can do it overnight. All right, so we have our cling film, or saran wrap cling film here. We're going to put our cookie dough in here, and it doesn't matter what shape because these are going to get rolled out later. So we're just going to put it all together so that it can chill and set up for about an hour. Alright, so we've got this nicely wrapped up. It can be like a little ball or a square. As long as it's all ready to go into the fridge, we'll see you after an hour. Alright, so this is our dough out of the fridge. It's been in there for an hour. We're going to go ahead and roll it out on a lightly floured surface, and we're going to get ready to cut out our cookie shapes. Okay, I've put a little bit of flour out here. I'm going to go ahead and unwrap my cookie dough, and I get it nicely coated here. All right, so we have a little bit of dough on our surface, a little bit of flour on the dough, a little bit of flour on the cookie cutter. I'm just using a round, about a 2-inch cookie cutter. We're just going to make some rounds, and then we can decorate these. All right, so I just used a round cookie cutter. We're going to go ahead and put these in the oven and bake these, and then we'll just decorate them. Our cookies look perfect. They came out of the oven after 10 minutes at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. So we're going to let these cool for a little bit, and then we'll decorate. All right, guys, we have our cookies made. They are baked perfectly well. They baked about 8 to 10 minutes. We are ready to ice these. These have had lots of time to cool down because I actually made them yesterday. So today we're going to make the icing, and we're going to just give them a quick little decoration. All right, we're ready to mix up this icing. I'm going to start with 3 egg whites. I went ahead and separated the eggs when they're cold. They separate easier cold, but then I put them out to room temperature to let them get room temperature. So we're gonna start with these, and I'm gonna turn on our mixer and let these go until they are frothy. All right, our egg whites are frothy, so now I'm gonna add in our powdered sugar. This is 450 grams of powdered sugar. It's 1 pound. If you get the 2-pound bags, then just use half of that bag. And then I have a teaspoon of our vanilla. So I'm gonna very slowly add this to our egg white mixture, and then I'll add in our vanilla. Adding this just very slowly, about a tablespoon at a time. Alright, I've just added our vanilla halfway through adding our powdered sugar. I'm still just doing about a tablespoon at a time. And it's starting to get thicker. You want it to get really thick, but you don't want it to get too thick. You want it to be able to still pipe through a piping bag easily and not be so stiff. So if you get it too stiff, you can add a little bit of water, a few drops at a time to thin it out. And if you get it too thin, you can add a little bit more powdered sugar to stiffen it back up. Alright, so as you can see, our icing's pretty stiff. That's not going to be able to pipe very well. So I am going to add a little bit of water to it and thin this out so that we can pipe the borders around the cookies. Alright, I've divided the icing up, and I did add just a tiny little bit of water to it. I might have to add a little bit more, we'll see. But I'm going to make part of it blue and keep part of it white. So I'm going to add some gel. This is a food coloring gel. I like the gel because it doesn't really take away from the icing's texture. It doesn't make it too thin or too thick. So I'm going to mix this in and we'll be right back. Another trick is to cover whichever icing you don't use with cling film or saran wrap or a lid so that it doesn't dry out. This icing dries out very quickly, which is why I like it, but at the same time, you have to be able to use it right then and pretty quickly so you don't let it dry out. So we're gonna do our blue first, and I'm gonna let the white. All right, we have our blue icing ready, and I have an icing bag. You can also use a Ziploc and cut off the tip. I am using a Wilton tip number 3. It's probably a little bit big for what we need, but I'm gonna do it so you can see the outline of the cookie pretty good. So I'm gonna put a little bit of our icing in our icing bag here. And you don't want to overfill your bag or else it'll all come out the top. So I'm just going to put about half the bag full of icing. I'm going to take it and push it down and try to get all your air bubbles out. Then I'm going to twist it several times so that I have it nice and tight and it won't come back up this way. And now I'm just going to make my circle around the edge of the cookie, and I'm going to try to do it without lifting up the line or lifting up the icing from the cookie. Okay, I'm going to do another one. So I'm going to use this consistency first, and I'm going to outline all my cookies, and then I'm going to thin my icing down and do what's called flooding, which is making it a little thinner and it just kind of floods into the middle of the cookie. But first I'm going to do my outlines, and then we'll be back and do the flooding. All right, I've outlined our cookies, and I've added a little bit of water to thin down our mixture just a little bit here, our icing. And I'm going to use the same icing bag. I just cleared it out, and I switched to Wilton tip number 10. It's a little bit bigger round tip so that I can flood the inside of these cookies. So with the icing being a little bit thinner, you don't want it super thin, but a little bit thinner, it's going to kind of make its way to the edges of these cookies. And again, I'm not going to fill up my icing bag all the way because I don't want it to come out at the top. So I'm going to press it down and put a little bit out. That's called burping the bag. And I'm just going to fill it in here. I'm going to let it kind of fill its way out to the outside. And I can help it along with a toothpick or a spoon here in just a minute. Also give it a little shake. That sometimes helps as well because I don't want these to stay too thick. All right, so we'll do a couple there so I can show you how I do that. And then sometimes if you give it a little shake, it'll start to fill in. And we can add a little bit more as needed. You can also take a toothpick and get out some of these air bubbles. Okay, so you can see it's already spreading compared to the one that hasn't spread yet. All right, so I might shake this one a little bit too, and then we'll add a little bit more icing. And then we'll do one more. All right, I'm going to add a little bit more icing here, just around the outside edge. All right. Do a little bit more on these. There we go. And we'll shake it and it'll hit that dried outside rim and not flow over on the sides of the cookies. Okay. Some people use a little pin tool, like a cookie decorating tool. Some people use a toothpick. You can use whatever tools you might have on hand to help the icing get to the edges. But I find that just shaking it does most of the work for me. There we go. So there's our filled in cookie. And I'll do the rest of these and then we'll come right back. All right, so I've got my white icing now and I've thinned it down a little bit so I can kind of decorate the blue. And you'll notice that I've already started with one. I've done like a little pattern on these just to make them look pretty, but you can do whatever you want. And so Evan is turning 12. So I might put a little 1, 2 here for 12. And the nice thing about this icing is right before it's dry, if you shake it just a little bit, that white icing will kind of blend in with that blue icing. And if you make any errors, again, you can use your toothpick to help straighten that out. So let me show you the 12. So we have the 12. And I'm just going to keep decorating some of these and we'll be right back. All right, these are our decorated cookies. And again, like I said, you can do them however you want with however many colors you want. These I just made for fun for Evan's 12th birthday party. All right, guys, this is our finished product. We hope that you like this video. Please like, subscribe, and comment down below what you would like to see us do next. We'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye.